Hiya folks, this is ACOL Podcast 11, Course of Love, Experience. Now that exquisite bird right at the beginning, I am surrounded by nature here, and at times I just hear this incredible bird that I might have not even heard last year. I don't know where they all come from. But it feels like they always is another sound, another bird, and that one of the beginnings called a whip bird comes every morning and blesses my day. And as you listening more carefully, you will hear more bird sounds because they are all around, and even I close the windows, they still come in. And there are geckos and other very interesting characters from the animal world that make themselves known through their vibration. Today I want to talk what's the bottom line in this transformation that's taking place in many of us. If I look at what was the most transformative of the learnings that happened in my time of transformation was the embodiment, the actual incarnation of God as in my case, a man become a real man. What does it take for a man to really incarnate himself into this presence that has embraced its own feminine side? And what does that really mean, the feminine side? And what does it really mean, the masculine side? Hey, we talk about the birth of Christ. We are told we are this, we are light, we are magnificent, and where is that magnificence, and how does it actually truly manifest, not only for us, but also for our surroundings that reflect us this divinity in ourselves? And it really comes back to the incarnation. Course in Miracles says, at no time does the body really exist. Why? Because it's constantly reflecting something else. It's in a constant reflection, and so is the physical form. Like, you can look at a tree and see a tree, or you can withdraw your ideas of the tree, like the name that we label trees with, and get the whatever that thing in front of us is, which we call tree, to reveal us what it really is. So we get informed what everything is rather than project onto things what they are. Just for a moment, imagine delabeling everything. Yeah, you wouldn't call a tree. We just look at it and go like, what are you? You wouldn't look at a window and say, yeah, this is a window, but you'd say, wow, what's this? How did this come about to be? And so is with everything. Rather than projecting our old ideas onto things, which make things old, we don't experience ourselves as we are now. If our mind is preoccupied with past thoughts, then do we actually see things as they are right now? And realizing that we don't see things as they are now is the beginning of learning to relearn the old way. So I want to bring in today something that I find was idea of the inner presence and the inner radiance, they do have two different qualities. One is masculine and one is feminine. We often hear that in God there is no duality. However, there is a singularity that's often in denial of something. Yeah, like this world is not real. Only truth is, or whatever these statements you can stick on a fridge and think that that's the truth could be. None of it is truth because perception does not really fit onto truth. There is not a sentence that's a true sentence because everything that's perception is not an attribute of wholeness. Because perception vanishes when truth dawns on our mind, our heart, as well as on our feeling. So I often talk about this levels of awakening first. And I can only speak for myself here. First for me was the mind has awakened. Suddenly everything I thought I was or everything else was vanished and something else was there. And there was no time, there was no space. There was only the eternal now. And that was just a profound way of being. However, even so this was true, there will be these wiggles and niggles somewhere down the bottom in the pit that would bring some emotional triggers. Even so, this mind was apparently reborn, which it was, right? But to a point where it was not fully embodied. And so then came the next awakening, which was the awakening of the feeling, which is that really the feminine aspect of the polarity. Yeah. Now when two magnets are really properly aligned, they just pull each other and they lock in. You can't really pull them off unless one of them goes a bit wonky. And so you can really just slide them off. But when it clicks on, it just clicks on. Now, feelings are a magnetic part. Yeah. Our mind, particularly if it empties itself, rids itself of excess ideas from the past and becomes really present in the now, where it's not preoccupied with meaningless thoughts, but it's here now. And I don't mean in this very instant, but it's constant. Course in Miracle talks about holy instant, where you have this parting of the veil, where suddenly you see. It's an instant. Why is it an instant? Because you gotta get used to it. Because it's so overwhelmingly beautiful. But eventually, as we get used to it, as we realize that the light is not to hurt us here, we begin to open up deeper and realize that this light has to reflect in our feeling self. Otherwise, habitual patterns of the mind will grasp it and hold it, and it becomes old. I had a friend used to say, yeah, that idea, that's already in a coffin. Your light, that that you call awakening is already closed off in a coffin, and it's going to snuff out. It's just not going to be the light anymore. Yeah, why? Because it's always brand new. Creation means right now. It's a brand new moment. And if you look around and you name all these objects, they're not here now. They are just reflections of something that you've seen before. But to look at something, anything, and go, hey, what are you? You know, I used to call you a cup, but maybe you're not a cup. Maybe you're something else. What are you? Now, even the physical reality can begin to reflect to us what it truly is. If we can empty our mind enough and let it be revealed to us. And so that's the difference between projecting and then naming things to a not projecting and not naming anything. I was sitting with my neighbor the other day, and we were doing this practice about presence. And he goes, what do I need to do right now to be really present? I said, let go of everything you think you know. And there it is. Let go of everything you think you know. Just for a moment, don't worry, you won't lose it. You can only enrich that. Yeah, because it gets washed of the meaningless, and the only meaningful begins to appear. So, talking about that second stage where the feelings awaken, and this is a subject I really like to address again and again in a deeper and deeper concerning feelings, because you might say, well, what is this guy talking about? Well, I've got feelings. Well, there are feelings and there are feelings. There are feelings that are static, that are old, just like that cup or just like that tree. And we call it a name, I'm sad. That's an old, locked up feeling. That's what? It's in prison. That's what we call not a free will. The will is a part of us that only feels, and the free will is when none of these feelings are in some kind of lockdown. So the minute we have a label on what we think we feel, what we think we feel, we're not actually in the present moment tapping into the well of ever-birthing freshness of the will, just birthing a new existence into reality, the ultimate God's entertainment, where these things appear that we didn't imagine were impossible, that even sages couldn't talk about, because you know what? That was then. That's why I go, forget traditions. Yeah. Traditions bring more traditions. Yeah. Let it all go. All of it. The whole lot. Empty your mind of everything. There's a beautiful prayer in a Course in Miracles. And when you hear this, it kind of sums up everything I'm trying to get across here. And it's this. It says, simply do this. Be still and lay aside all thoughts of what you are and what God is. All concepts you have learned about the world. All images you held by yourself. Empty your mind of everything it thinks is either true or false, or good or bad, of every thought it judges worthy, and in all the ideas of which it is ashamed. Hold on to nothing. Do not bring with you one thought that the past has taught you, nor one belief you ever learned before from anything. And guys, forget this world. Forget this course. Forget this course in miracles, eh? And come with your wholly empty hands unto your God. Right? And even word God needs a big release. Because any ideas we have on God is just our little prison onto something that's constantly recreating itself. There's a brand new existence right now. A brand new right now. However, if our minds are preoccupied with the past, we miss this now moment. Now that's forever. And so also when I talk about this masculine and feminine, these are just qualities. They're more of an experience than some kind of label, you know. Sometimes I hear just visualize your inner woman or visualize your inner man, and you know, we just go into the past and begin to visualize, you know, I don't know, physical shapes of or images that again will just imprison the mind with something we think it's true, right? It's not, it's just all made up. Yeah. So this, if we really keep going into this masculine and feminine, what we're really looking at pure thought, an inspiring thought that doesn't come from the brain, it doesn't come from the mind, it comes from inspiration. It's a brand new thing. Now, how does that get activated? It gets activated by feeling. You know, the feeling inspires the mind. However, if the feeling is locked up, it's in a lockdown for centuries or maybe eons, how can it inspire anything if it's dead, if it's controlled? It cannot do what it was meant to do. That's why we have such a strange name to this series of books called Right Use of Will. Just that name, right use of will, yeah? That means really, what is the purpose of our feelings? And aren't they free? Why are they labeled by names so we can organize them and feel safe in some state that they seemingly expressing? But you know what? Is not so. The free will, real free will, and I'm not talking about willpower here, I'm talking about pure feelings, are a breeze, they're feeling that's pure. Yeah, it's a feeling that's in a constant flow, just like a well. Now, in this world, we only have comparisons, but you know what? None of these that I use are it. They're just like pointers, right? So I talk a lot about feelings, and today I'm just going to say the bottom line of it, which is there is no problems with feelings. This is what Course of Love is all about. All feelings are good, and even that's a judgment. But what I'm talking more about is that the feelings need to flow. So even when we use a metaphor of an ocean, there's only one ocean in the world, just one ocean. There's not many oceans. We put the different names on them, but it's all one water. And it's got currents, and it's got different temperatures, it's got different depth, it's got different fish, it's got different whatever, But it's in a constant movement. It's not solid. It's got waves, it's got tides, it's got currents. It's in a constant movement now. If we could compare feelings, at least remotely, to this, we're beginning to talk about the truth of feelings, right? Now, the greatest enemy of the feelings is the mind itself. And that's the real awakening, when we realize that all our feelings are constantly controlled by this seat of power, which is called mind. Course in Miracles says consciousness is still a domain of an ego, right? We think like, wow, consciousness. Well, yeah, it's a domain of the ego. It's still not a complete freedom. It's a sign of duality, because there is somebody who is conscious of something else. That's right there where the split is. God doesn't think I'm God. It just is. Same as a mountain is or a tree is. And if we delabel it, then there it is, whatever that is. We don't need to put a label on it, because then it will probably stop informing us what else it is. And same with us. Who you think you are is not who you are. There's a beautiful lesson in Course in Miracles 35. It's like, my mind is part of God's. I'm very holy. And then it gets you to look at all your attributes that you ascribe to yourself. Because love is attributeless. There's no attributes. We're the one who took love and made a tree out of it, or made anything out of it that we could just package and sell later, or pull out later, say, look at this. But we imprisoned it, same as we imprisoned our will. So there's nothing problem with feelings, and there is only one question. If you have a feeling arising, there's only one question, and the question is it okay? Is it okay to feel the way you feel? And if you're really honest, in most cases, you will find out that it's not okay. But you have to be honest, because I have this happening daily. So how are you feeling? I love this whole feeling subject. It's just it's my thing, and I really totally resonate with that statement, that feeling is the secret, and the secret is feeling. Because people say, yeah, no, it's okay how I feel. And I go, really? They go, yep. So this sounds really solid answer. And then I go, is it 100%? And I would say 99.9% of people say, well, it's high. It's like 97. And you know what that means? That means no, it's not okay. Because in truth, there's either truth or not. There are not levels of truth, It's like Dr. Hawkins, like man's drunk, It's like there aren't levels, there aren't numbers, that we can't put this. There are no holier things than some other things. Everything is equally holy because God created everything holy, perfect. Yeah? Even what we call negative, there are perfectly negative things. There really is no opposition. There aren't levels. There aren't holier people than you are. You made that. We made holy people because we denied our own holiness and then projected there are some people who are higher than us, and equally we make some people less holy than we think we are. But truth is, we're all holy equally. There aren't beings who are higher beings than you. It's like God did not create somebody holier than you. You're it. You're as holy as they get. Because to me, holy comes from expression of wholeness. Yeah, holy, wholeness, whole, complete. If you reject one thing in yourself, you're splitting yourself into two camps. Now you have consciousness. Now you have one that's conscious of another. So coming back to this feeling stuff, it's not the feelings that are usually a problem. It's the attitude towards feeling, which is obviously mind. That is the problem, if there is one. So to realize that the mind is an unconditional, the way it is, it's an unconditional non-acceptance of feelings. And even so it pretends it is, it's still an enemy of feeling. And same as I mentioned trees and things, we labeled feelings this and labeled feelings that, and now we're suffering the consequences of that misidentification or I would say crucifixion of something. We nail something to the cross, we say this is what this is, boom, it's nailed, and it takes something to undo that belief. In truth, you don't label. It's nothing to label, isn't. Something just is, and it doesn't need to be nailed to a label. So delabeling feelings and making them ocean again. Because feeling is what that true, genuine feminine in us is. It's not some kind of image of a woman with perfect shapes or the masculine, this Shiva dude that's this or that. It's just a presence and an openness. This is the electromagnetic field. And how gorgeous when that is free to be what it is. It creates and only creates. So the real awakening of the mind happens when the feelings awaken to this freedom to be the free will, to be free-flowing energy in us. Even energy is such a label, such a stamp. Everybody talks about God and energy. It's like, in truth, there is no need to identify things. In truth, it's just to enjoy the revelation of the moment. And how do you know when you're in revelation? It's joyous. It puts a smile on your face. Yeah. And it keeps you smiling. And you go, why am I smiling? Right? You just smile. It cannot be apart. Joy and peace and love, of course, are the result. So in ourselves, it's this alignment between our own masculine and feminine. So, we talk about this, like, what about my inner boy, or what's about my inner girl, right? Well, she's the result, or he is the result of the internal parents. And if your mind hasn't released itself from all the labels and it's still crucified by the action of naming, it cannot see properly anything. And so the Father in you is not as God created you. It's just a label of some kind. When it gets delabeled, the Father dawns on us as a presence. It's present, it's here and now, where there is no here or now, because it's not in a time and it's not in a space. It's in creation. And for this to reignite itself, there is this necessity be ignited by this other quality, which is feeling, right? And now you have this present, and instead of thinking in a head, it's just present. Not observing anything, it's just being there. Not expecting things to be certain way, it's just being there. That ignites the feminine within, which is the mother. Without the mother, there is no Christ. There is not the birth of the new man, the new woman. And so without these parents, the inner child is just this spoiled little brat who's always needing something. I need this, and then I need this, and I need this. Why? Because it's not giving. Yeah. The ultimate principle is giving of myself. It becomes an impersonal life. You no longer label the person. You're just part of everything. Just like when a drop of rain is just pouring outside. One drop of rain falls into an ocean. Boom. Where is the drop? You become one with it all. And so there is no more you. And that lesson 35 so beautiful, like, I see myself as talking right now, but my mind is part of God's. I'm very holy. Yeah, delabels all these crosses we made, a road to Calvary. Yeah, nothing's nailed. The nails are being pulled out and you resurrect into the wholeness, which is unspeakable love. You name it and you nailed it. And now love is a concept, and love is something we do rather than what we are. So the awakening of a feeling is not as one thing. That feeling is a different texture to thinking. So thinking is positive, plus. Feeling is negative, minus. And you got to have these two in order to turn your heart on. Just like a lamp. You need electricity, you need plus and minus. And it turns on. Now, if the magnetic is missing, if the feminine in us is denied, then our mind is just flickering. It's just got this static. It's just got this plus, but there's nothing to ground it. So it's thinking like mad all day, and it can't stop. Now try this. Allow feelings to be present. Don't label them. It's more like you go, okay, I'll let go of this grip I have over my feelings, and I let them free. I'm no longer going to name them this or that. I'm just going to let it free flowing. Don't worry, you'll survive. And anything that's not true in you will vanish. But this is what the fear of God is. It's this fear of us being complete and whole. And so we set feelings free and no longer control them in any way. Just for a moment. And notice, if you really do this correctly, your mind, our thoughts will slow right down. That's why meditation is often called for, to still our mind. But hey, you want to do it fast? Bringing some feeling. What am I feeling right now? And are my feelings free to flow? Are they oozing out, or are they in a lockdown? Are you a oozer, or are you a loser? Forgive me, for I have sinned. Right? It becomes a flow. Now, if the feelings are flowing, the mind will release its past and will become present for this free flow that's happening. It sees everything as a dance. It sees everything as this lush movement, because everything is birthing brand new. There are no old feelings coming to bug you, yeah? Those that you locked up and imprisoned your own will with them, right? They're fully expressed and they're back in the ocean, they're flowing, they're fresh. And that will dislodge the mind from its habitual pattern of labeling and nailing. Because whatever we nail does not move, and whatever doesn't move loses life. And life is fresh, it's like a breeze. You can't see it, but it's flowing. Even when it seems like it's very still, there is still a movement. It's just so subtle. We don't see, like when like at dusk time, you don't see the change, but it just gets darker or it gets lighter. Dawn. But you don't see it changing. Yeah. So, just like that saying, one thing that never changes is everything is constantly changing. Yeah. So this is the real feminine and masculine in us. And from my experience, I noticed that it was my feminine that actually awakened my real masculine. She reflected it. She gave it a reflection, just like the Kali, There's this Indian goddess called Kali who cuts the head off. But the real truth of that expression is she cuts the whole head off. She cuts the head that's full of concepts and ideas and basically stagnant. And I guess I wouldn't even label stagnant what, just stagnant, just not moving. It's called the libraries of ideas. And it thinks it knows something, but it knows nothing. Because it's not present while it's thinking about these empty ideas, the old, historical, traditional, this and that. It's missing the now. It's missing the birth of God in every moment. That's why we can never label God anything, because it's brand new. Right now it's brand new. There's no way one can go like, well, yeah, but no, it's just brand new right now. And so no one can steal it, no one can grasp it. That's creation. And so to return to forever, return to this creation, is to ignite this, I call it, for the lack of a better word, is inner forces that are just exquisite. So this feminine will reflect to the man his true face. That's the idea of Kali. She cuts all the head off, but this immediate birth of brand new presence. Yeah. Now, for women, this is the other way around. Yeah. She needs to exchange her mind for a brand new mind that is present for her own feelings. Once this Prince of Light is born in her mind, he will look down on a feeling with the most delicious embrace. Like, imagine if you're a woman and just how do you feel this presence would work for you? What is it? It's like it's with you, and it's still with you, and it's forever with you. Right? So this is your mind being brand new to your own feelings. When your feelings are feeling this loving presence, they ignite into your pure feminine expression, which is really just a free-flowing feeling that's lit up, ignited. It's like, whoa! It's in the sense of it's like a turn on, but it's way bigger than any turn on you've ever experienced. Yeah, means all this, every cell is polarizing. within itself and birthing the Christ within. And eventually it's not about the masculine and not about the feminine, but it's all about the birth. If it's birthing a naggy little kid inside who's constantly lacking something, then that's not a masculine, that's not a feminine birthing, but that's just a limited mind, and locked up feelings are birthing a child that lives in prison of an imprisoned mind and imprisoned will. And I'm not reading from A Course of Love as I'm bringing this series to an end of introducing this exquisite material that's way beyond what I can truly even share. And it's the birth and incarnation of this second coming. And obviously the second coming is you when your inner Father or God's presence is there, and the feeling can reflect its purity, meaning it's pure because it's not loaded up with past crap, the past stuff. It's in the now, and now, in the now. And in that sense, it ignites into light. I guess the positive and the negative locks in together. It's two magnets. Now you know what happens when you have two magnets and you turn them around. You get the poles that pulling. You turn them around 180 degrees. What happens? They begin to repulse each other. And this repulsion happens in people when they hate their own feelings. So if the mind attitude towards feeling is punitive, these feelings, they just turn around the other way and they actually repulse and create gap. And so instead of the heart, there is this gaping hole that's like a black hole. It just sucks anything that it can get because it's trying to fill in that which can never be filled in. It can never be fulfilled. Right? Only you can be accomplished. That's it. There's no one out there who's going to complete you ever. Ever. And eventually, it's not even Jesus. Who is just what? Just an example life. It's like, hey, you want to do this? Hey, look, there is another way. This is the way. Follow me for a moment. I'll show you how to polarize yourself into wholeness. So you turn these magnets towards each other. They click together. They create this exquisite magnetism, which love is when you feel it. Everything just feels so attractive, like gorgeous, fresh, surprisingly new, flowing, complete. Nothing's lacking. It's basically it's complete in itself. And so it creates an elevated form. Body is no longer what it used to be. That's what it means, I'm not a body, I'm free. You become this free-flowing agent, for the lack of a better word. I don't even know where these words come from, because I'm trying to, just like everyone else when we talk spirituality, to name unnameable, but it's really to name what cannot ever be told. And yet it is this just a finger pointing to something that has to, for it to be complete, occur in ourselves. Yeah, in which we disappear in the ocean, just like the drop of the rain that falls in and becomes one great ocean. We join with this wholeness. We kind of lose this personality, and yet we are part of it, where everything is experiencing this oneness, and yet there are currents and there are flows, and it's alive and it's moving. Everything's in this exquisite mode and movement. And I come back to that statement I used from the book last week when I said, you will never fully understand what unity means, right? You will never understand the whole ocean, right? But you will come to feel what unity means. And this I promise you. So he's basically saying, until we begin to truly feel, this feeling cannot inform us. We overtrain our mind. It's so tired now, hey? We overtrain our mind with loading it up with information. You know, you go to school and what do? It's like, come on, learn this and learn this and learn this and learn this. And now you think you know something. Yeah. But it's not. It's not what you know. It's what you do with what you know. Anyway, I'm just kidding. So, it's only when we fall into this ocean that it begins to inform us of what it is. So this is such a profound statement, you know. You will never fully understand what unity means, but you will come to feel what unity means. And so, what has to happen? We're going to have to let ourselves to change our attitude and release those views and labels that we have placed over the part of ourselves that is feeling, until we get to this core of the feeling, which is your divine self, divine feminine self. Again, it's just a rough label, yeah? But it's that part of you that's receptive. It's the negative side of the magnet, and because it's called negative, it got this undercurrent of undesirable. And yet, it's the most important thing, that we have to allow ourselves to free up, to fully experience, you know, what unity means. We are like a fish that's looking, you know, it's in the ocean and going like, where's the water? Yeah, it lives in it. It's just such a natural part of it. Same with us, you know. We go like, where is God? Well, we live in it. We live in this exquisite unity. We label God, you know. Jesus made up this word, Father. Again, it was just made up for a moment. You know, today we have these religions who believe in this Father who's gonna, you know, we're so guilty about leaving, and we've done so many bad things that he's gonna one day go, you know. What crazy father would even set up such an idiotic scenario? Yeah. It's like, for those who had kids, tell your kid, hey, you can't do this. What is the first thing they're going to do? Well, they were just pointed to something to do. That just makes no sense whatsoever. And so we let it all go. We forgive. We forgive our, religions and teachers. And the Course of Love is something incredible. So like, you know why you were angry? Because you'll all learn so much garbage, so much unnecessary stuff that somewhere inside you're furious because somewhere deep down you knew you don't need any of it. None. Yeah, because that was what drowned the fresh flow. Like you can look at the kids. I often teach this in my men's group, because most of us, we have to admit that our bodies are collapsed. Do you see a straight person? Unless they really work out, the body kind of goes slightly collapsed. And we live in this collapsed body, and so we feel like it. It feels like everything is too much, right? But return the body into non-collapsed state, and you begin to experience unity again. Yeah, I had a client who was talking to me about whatever happened in his childhood and and I said, okay, let's just change chairs, and I just want you to sit up, and I really want you to open up your chest, and I just want you to feel like, hello, here you are, stand up for yourself. And we changed his physiology. We changed the way he was sitting, and suddenly he was open, solid, tall. His neck was straight. It wasn't like his chin was out or his head was to the side. Suddenly it was like straight in, straight up, fully present, made in presence. Just like, now, tell me about the little boy. And he goes, what little boy? He simply could not find his memory. And so you can therapize forever, but the problem is not what happened. The problem is that it collapsed you. And so when you return into this presence, into this non-collapsed state when your magnets are just in a repulsion, right? Because you couldn't handle your own experience. Suddenly, you are back home in an instant. So practicing presence, which is that deep inner masculine in both genders, and practicing openness and letting all the feelings flow again without the mind's attitude controlling it. And same with the presence, where it pays attention to its own reflection. Because God gave us this will, so we don't have to keep asking God for help. We go like, hey, will, reflect me, show me who I really am. Boom. If you truly ask, she will truly reflect it. If she's not doing it, you're just not letting it. And so the mind has to get some training. And I have not yet encountered better training than A Course in Miracles, because it prepares the mind for this exquisite birth within, when it finally remembers that controlling feelings, it's its own death, it's its own crucifixion. So he resurrects, becomes fully present. The feelings will reflect this presence and recreate the original electromagnetic field in which you remember your wholeness. In remembering your wholeness, your search for God is over because you found it. Yeah? And I'm saying find it because it's not he or she. It's when two magnets click, there is only one magnet. Yeah? And it has to be a form of denial or slipperiness that slips the two magnets away from each other, and they begin to go into slight repulsion. Now, I'm sure many of you have seen when they show the electromagnetic field around the magnets, it's got this formation of currents around it, and often drawn as this very symmetric wiring, or I don't know how to describe this, but it's like they draw the invisible and everything is perfectly aligned. The minute you put this magnet slightly apart to the side, this formation turns into a distortion. And that's all the human condition is this inner repulsion. We become repulsive to ourselves on some level. And then we judge our form, we judge our lives, we judge, and by judging it, we nail it. We go like, this is how it is. I am this way and this way and this way, and my little life is like this. And if he doesn't love me, then it's like this. And if he does love me, then it's like that. Rather than just being whole and complete, where your electromagnetic field, your masculine, your feminine, is married in one circle. That's the idea of the ring. Yeah, you are whole within yourself, whole and complete and perfect in that sense, which has nothing to do with what we believe perfection is. Because in this world, perfection is not the truth. So yeah, that brings me to my last podcast on talking about a course of love. So if you find yourself resonating with anything I'm on about, there is a whole series of talks on right use of will, which is specifically the set of books that helps us to reconnect with our feelings and see the origins of why feelings are the way they are. It's exquisite. It's a very painful series. If you really get into it, you will find yourself in places you didn't know existed in you, particularly on a feeling level. But it leads us to the origins of everything, the original cause. Then I did the whole series on Course in Miracles, called There Must Be Another Way to A Course in Miracles. Because even that book can be taken into way of expressing it that A Course in Miracles does not need expressing. And just say it one more time, because this is so important. If you ever do Course in Miracles, it teaches only one thing. It says, teach only love, for that is what you are. And that is what you are is the more important than teach the love, because it helps you to return to you, to your true self, capital S. And teaching only love is that you become this love and then you walk the world with it, just like Jesus did. That's teaching the love. not taking the Course in Miracles and pulling it apart and pulling things out of it and telling you what every paragraph means. No, just throw that away. Just use the book to return you to this experience of wholeness, and then throw the book away. And you can teach by being it, not necessarily by teaching the Course in Miracles in itself. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it sets out an example where people believe that they need to learn all this, that's 1,200 pages of written material. So maybe one day when they know it all, will actually understand the Course. But it's not about that. It's about returning into your wholeness and then teaching by being whole. I don't at all see myself as a teacher, but I definitely love sharing this profound experience that took place with the help of my little friends. And now came this Course of Love, which I've never encountered anything as profound as this book is and what it has to offer. It takes the Course in Miracles to a whole new level. It also takes Righteous Soul into a whole new level. That was my experience. And what I particularly love about my experience with, maybe in 5 years I read it maybe 12, 13 times, the whole book over and over, is this connection to Jesus and knowing him so personally. And in that particular incarnation he was in as Jesus who walked the earth, he was asked not to write anything down. So he's never really written anything. Anything that we know of Jesus is pretty much just from the people around him. And he says many times later on that they really didn't get him. So some of the accounts we have are still very confusing, and I've written in a language that could mean anything. And so he gives us these later day teachings of A Course in Miracles and Course of Love, where he refines and defines and brings it exactly to the point of what he has to say to us, so we undergo the real resurrection. We bypass the crucifixion. And I am in deep gratitude and in endless awe of what this book has to offer. So if it resonates with you, this is an amazing material that you will not believe to what part of you it will begin to speak, and how that part of you that has never had a chance to manifest yet, it begins to wake up and begins to be revealed to such a deep understanding. I might do one more podcast on the epilogue, because for me I got this book, had this crazy awakening after 1 week of reading it. So right at the beginning, as if the whole book was downloaded. And then all I could do was read the epilogue. So maybe I do one more, make it 12. And now I'll share about the last part of it. Just so exquisite. Alright guys, thanks for your patience, your attention, your joining, and blessings.